Are you ready to rock?
I'm a goofy goober!
What's happening?
That's a shame, because there's going to be no rock in here. Just a look at the rock type and my top 5 Pokemon from it. So, rock isn't really one of my favourite types, as you can guess by it being only the 4th one that I've spoken about. It wins out over grass, steel and ice because I actually really like the Pokemon that I like from the rock type. This list wasn't that hard because there were some pretty cool Pokemon to talk about. Rock's biggest failing for me is that I see it as a defensive type, and I'm not really into defensive Pokemon. I recognize that Rock is pretty good offensively as well, hitting a lot of really good things and a lot of things carrying a double weakness, but I can't really accept it as such. Also, Rock will always be one of my least favourite types until they decide that Stealth Rock needs a nerf, because it really does. No, seriously, there is no reason for Stealth Rock to do what it does. Leech Seed doesn't affect water Pokemon more than it affects anything else. Stealth Rock is the only one of these passive things that does super effective damage, so that's just stupid, and it needs to stop happening. Aside from that though, let's talk about my favourite rock types. Here we go! Number 5! Kabutops. Now Kabutops is pretty cool, being one of the first 3 fossil Pokemon. Well, first 3 fully evolved fossil Pokemon. As it is, it sort of looks like it could have been the prehistoric Scyther, what with the blade arms and the shellfish head and everything else. Kabutops stands out for being the coolest first-gen fossil Pokemon that isn't Aerodactyl. Because, seriously, when you got to Mount Moon and you could pick your fossils, did anyone really pick Omastar? They probably did, because that's what Choice is about, but I'm betting that Kabutops was the fan favourite. It gets along pretty well with its secondary water typing, and it has Swift Swim, so it speeds up in the rain, which takes an already fast Pokemon and makes it faster. And it was definitely helped along by the special physical split, meaning that it can use Waterfall well. The blades on its arms also means that it gets access to a lot of blade moves, which is pretty cool, and it also appeals to me in the way that I just like swords and blades and stuff. I think they're cool. And more things should have them. So, Kabutops is cool. Yay! Beating out Kabutops is a new addition to the Pokemon line, Tyrantrum. Also a fossil Pokemon, Tyrantrum is part dragon. How is that not cool? Also, it's a T-Rex, which is also really cool. Unlike Tyranitar, the Despot Pokemon is a true T-Rex, with the gimpy little arms and the crown on its head. It even has a ruff, which clearly shows you this is the king of dinosaurs. Not only does it have a really cool Rock Dragon typing, it gets away with a really cool ability in Strongjaw, which powers up all Bite-type moves, so Crunch, Bite, and all of the Fang-type attacks. As well as that, he just looks overall menacing and frightening. And it's definitely one of my favourite designs from Generation 6. Which isn't saying much because I enjoyed almost all of the designs in Generation 6, but Tyrantrum is definitely up there, probably in the top 10. Moving on. Number 3. Golem. That's right, the original fully evolved rock Pokemon, Golem. My first experiences with Golem were in the anime, and I thought it would be a part water type because it looked like a turtle. How wrong I was. Golem is not even slightly a turtle, it's just a giant mud ball with arms and legs and a head. Which, now that I know what a Golem is kinda obvious. That being said, Golem didn't truly make its mark on my top 5 list until I played through Soul Silver. I used a Golem in my Soul Silver team, and it got through the game quite well, being that it was defensively bulky, and it had enough attack to actually do some damage. It also really amused me to find out how tall Golem actually is. It's only 4'7", or 1.4 meters, which is shorter than I am. I always pictured Golem to be this giant hulking ball of death, but it's not. As well as that amusing tidbit, and the fact that I used it in my Soul Silver run, there's also the fact that I enjoy Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And at one point I was really into the texture hacking side of it. There was one texture pack that turned all of the Pokemon into different Pokemon, and Electrode, which normally just explodes and damages you, got turned into Golem. Unfortunately, because of the way the textures worked, when Golem exploded, it actually froze the game. That's right, Golem exploded so hard, it froze the game. Golem's ability to explode is another reason that I like it very much. It has sturdy, so it's always going to survive on 1 HP, and then it just explodes. It's actually a better bomb than Electrode in most cases. So yeah, I find Golem really amusing, and that's why he made my top 3. Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl was definitely going to be in the top 5, and he was definitely going to be in the top 2, because Aerodactyl is cool. Again, I first saw Aerodactyl in the anime. You know that one episode where Ash's Charmeleon tries to fight it, but then it smacks him down because, hey, it's Aerodactyl, and this prompts Charmeleon to evolve into Charizard? That was a cool episode. I actually used to think that Aerodactyl was an ancient and fossilized version of Charizard, you know, before it evolved and became Fire-type. Evidently that's not true anymore, but I like to believe. Unlike Golem, Aerodactyl is pretty tall, being 5'11", which is exactly as tall as I am. And all that it is a collection of speed and attack. Its speed is base 130, which means that it's equal to Crobat's. Its attack is base 110, which is pretty damn strong. So Aerodactyl is going to tear through things if it wanted to. It also has a really sleek design. You know, I think it actually has everything that it needs to in its basic design. Which is why, when people kept asking for an Aerodactyl evolution, I kept thinking, why does Aerodactyl need an evolution? It's already at the peak of its design. But clearly they decided that it needed a Mega Form, and they gave it one with a really stupid goatee and spikes. Why did they do this? Why did they take a perfect Pokemon and make it stupid? I don't know. Seems to be a trend. Not to worry though. Aerodactyl is still pretty cool and definitely deserves the top 2 space on my top 5 rock types. The armor Pokemon, Tyranitar. Hot damn, is Tyranitar awesome. Tyranitar is definitely my favorite rock Pokemon, and possibly my favorite dark Pokemon as well. However, since its primary type is rock, this is the list he gets on. Tyranitar was our original T-Rex Godzilla Pokemon, and everything about it just screams destruction. First of all, its ability Sandstream. When it comes into battle, everything gets sandy, and things start taking damage. The sand also raises Tyranitar's special defense by 1.5 times, which augments its already beastly base stat total of 600. It's also pretty beastly in both of its attacking stats. It's got 134 in its regular attack and 95 in its special. I've used a Tyranitar in most of my teams since Gen 2, because it's just so cool. Tyranitar is just amazing. And then they went and messed it up with that Mega Evolution. Good God, does that Mega Evolution look stupid. Just like Mega Aerodactyl, they took something that was at the peak of its design and added things to it that didn't need to be there. Why do you do this? Did you not go to design school? However, I can ignore that because Tyranitar is beastly, and eventually I'm going to get around to trading one for my X and Y team. Definitely one of the coolest Pokemon from Johto. Tyranitar deserves the top 1 spot. So those were my top 5 rocks. Actually, now I think about it, the last 3 types I've done, rock, ice, and steel, have all been weak to fighting. Next episode's type is not weak to fighting. It is in fact resistant to fighting. Quite possibly because the fighting types just can't handle that level of pink and cutesy. That's right, next episode we'll be talking about fairy types. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you do that so you don't miss that episode. And like this video, share it, leave a comment. Do you agree with my top 5 list? Do you disagree? I want to know. Please tell me. Anyway, until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!